what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're still at the LA Auto Show 2024 edition, and of course we had to stop at the Chevy booth and get a second serving of this car here. This is it. This is the one everybody's talking about, the all-new 2025 Corvette C8 ZR1. But before we get into this competition yellow, return of competition yellow supercar, let's talk about what's going on here. So when you hear ZR1, there's a lot of meaning behind that. And what's interesting is that it was an option code that existed back in 1970. In 1970 and 1971, Chevrolet created a ZR1 C3 Corvette. C3, remember, goes from 1968 all the way to 1982. Zora Duntov, who is the real father of the Corvette to me, Zora Arkus Duntov, he's the man that brought V8 to the Corvette back in 1955. He created this package with the LT1 equipped Corvette to make it the ultimate track edition. And that's where ZR1 originated from, Zora's Racer. Now those vehicles were very low production, about 30 examples made each of the 2 years. One of them actually was recently sold on Bring a Trailer for well over $200,000. ZR1 had come back in 1990. I was in middle school. It was something revolutionary. The first Corvette ever to have an over-the-head camshaft, quad camshaft V8. It would rev up to 7,500 RPM. You compare that to the L98 pushrod V8, which was in the regular Corvette at the time, that had a red line of about 5,800 RPM, so much different. That ZR1 went from 1990 to 1995, and it really made a mark on the European exotics at the time because it elevated the performance of the Corvette. One of the downfalls, though, it looked a lot like the regular Corvette, the regular C4 Corvette. Eventually, we would find in the 6th generation the return once again of ZR1, and it was different. Supercharged V8 power. First time supercharged V8 power. They did that generation for 2 years, and then finally 2019, 1 year only, last year the C7, last year the front engine Corvette, we see the ZR1 755 horsepower supercharged. This, though, goes in a different direction. But why don't we go ahead? I want to tell you more details on the ZR1, but I want to find out, is this the supercar to get over a Ferrari F90 or even the mighty Lamborghini Huracan STO? Let's go ahead, let's dive into our ZR1 and find out. Right off the bat, you're getting that extra width from the Z06. So we have an additional 3 inches of extra width, but let me show you some of the major differences. Down below, we're gonna see this aero package. It's part of the ZTK package. So this has the ZTK package, and you're gonna find extra aerodynamic carbon fiber diplanes, and then every ZR1 gets a carbon fiber splitter. So whether you get a base ZR1 or the ZTK option, you're getting this carbon fiber splitter, but the ZTK option gives you the carbon fiber diplanes, give us the extra downforce. Now, you'll have carbon flash metallic for those massive corner air intakes with all the heat exchangers. And then as we come across the nose, I'm so glad competition yellow is back. The other color that was being used previously on the C8 was accelerate yellow. That one was a little too bright, a little too much like a highlighter. This is what they run on the C7Rs, the C8Rs that race in the IMSA WeatherTech series. So up front, carbon flash metallic, that massive splitter. Of course, you're gonna have the cross flags. That's the Corvette badge that goes back to 1953. As we rise up, unique to the ZR1 is our front hood. So gone is the frunk. Instead of the frunk, we have a single large radiator underneath this wire mesh. And you'll notice the extra aero carbon fiber piece, that's part of the ZTK competition package. So no longer is there a frunk on the ZR1, whether you get a standard ZR1 or the ZTK option. In its place, massive radiator, because we have some massive heat being produced from a first time ever on a production Corvette from Bowling Green, Kentucky. ZR1 has a twin turbocharged engine. Now, as we come around the bend, you check off that ZTK option box, you're gonna get carbon fiber wheels. V-spoke design cuts on the weight, that's gonna cut on your rotating mass, that unsprung weight. Behind the carbon fiber wheels, we have, of course, the Brembo equipped carbon ceramic rotors, Twinkie yellow 6-piston calipers with the Corvette script, and then the super sticky Michelin Cup 2R tires. Because remember, performance means a lot of different things to a lot of people, but there's a lot of performance to be had when it comes to the braking capability and, of course, the stick from these Cup 2Rs, those ultimate track day tires. You're gonna get the updated magnetic ride suspension, all 4 corners, specifically tuned for this vehicle, and it's even more rigid than the Z06, the chassis. But let me know what you think about those carbon fiber wheels. They are a piece of perfection. 20-inch up front, 20 inches out back. Now, the number one way to tell that this is a ZR1, like I said, is gonna be that hood area. This one, having the extra aero pieces, is the ZTK option. Let's continue some of the other conversation pieces here. We have carbon fiber, obviously Targa roof. So back in the day, 1990, it was a different story. You couldn't get a convertible ZR1. This, you could get a Targa, you could get a convertible. Love the way it's got the competition yellow with the carbon fiber shining through. As we kind of drop down from the side, you could see the enlarged vents from the Z06, but what's different is the additional venting that's taking place. So that says I'm a ZR1. Also, when you go up top, the extra venting. Love the way it looks, plus the fact that it's all functional, and we have the ZR1 badge. Remember, stands for Zora's Racer. Absolutely fantastic. Coming back to the rear wheel and tire setup, this is where, remember, this is rear-wheel drive. It's not all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive. So we have extra rubber to meet the road, 21-inch wheels with those carbon ceramic brake rotors. Absolutely outstanding. It just makes my mouth just drop. As we rise up, we come around back, we have our split window. So the return of the split window Corvette. That was a one-year only thing back in 1963. The funny thing is that Zora actually did not like the split window look. It was Bill Mitchell who was the designer of the C8 Corvette, because remember, 1963 was the first year of the second generation of the Corvette. That went from 63 to 67. Zora did not like the split window. Bill Mitchell wound up winning that battle, and that's where they had the split window, but it was gone after 63, and now it's back here in 2025. Split window, carbon fiber surround with those functional heat extractors, and we're gonna open up the engine compartment, don't you worry, so that we could see that V8 underneath the hood. And then look at this massive wing. You know, Thanksgiving is next week. You could have your Thanksgiving Day dinner right on this rear wing. Love the end plates, the way everything is designed for maximum airflow, maximum downforce, and you'll see how you have the attachments at the back of the vehicle just to give us that ultimate grip. Corvette script looking good as always. And then the other way to tell that this is a ZR1 is that, of course, you have your quad tip exhaust that's in the center. Now that could also be a Z06. So, but if you see this particular ZTK package, you're not getting that wing like that on a Z06. But love the quad tip exhaust. Obviously the GM Performance Active exhaust. You could change the sound level, and it's all carbon flash metallic on the bottom here. But why don't we go ahead? Let's see if we could open up that engine hatch and I could tell you about the over 1,000 horsepower that's underneath. All right, guys, we got the rear hatch open. Here is the heart of the ZR1. That is a hand-assembled 5.5 liter flat plane crankshaft V8. Remember, these are built right in Bowling Green, Kentucky at the GM Performance Center. This is where you get your twin turbocharged power. It is the first time twin turbos have ever been offered on a production Corvette, except back in the 1980s and early 90s, there was a gentleman by the name of Reeves Callaway. Callaway Cars in Connecticut would take Corvettes, you would order it from your dealership, get the Callaway Corvette option, it was option B2K, and what they would do in Connecticut is that the car, the C4, would go from Bowling Green, Kentucky to Connecticut, and that's when they would install twin turbos on the L98 5.7 liter V8. This though is straight from General Motors. That's where you have that hand assembled 5.5 liters. So what are we actually talking about? We're talking about over 1,000 horsepower. So what you're looking at is going to be 1,063 horsepower. You have, of course, 64, sorry. I forgot to carry the 1,064 horsepower. What's awesome is that you have a forged crankshaft, forged rods, forged pistons. You have an extra set of fuel injectors, increased fuel rail capacity, because remember, to create that boom, you need more spark and you need more air. But the fact that this vehicle will do the quarter mile in the 10s, and here's the kicker, the top speed of this car, 233 miles per hour. Think about that. When I was back in high school and they came out with the McLaren F1 supercar, that car had a top speed of around 236 miles per hour, and that car was quite expensive for the time, well over $500,000. Today, they're in the millions. This vehicle has an MSRP. We don't know yet, but many people are expecting it to start around 180,000. This one is expected to be around 220,000. We'll see how that pricing pans out, but the fact that you have all that performance and all the drivability, plus it's under a full warranty. But let's go ahead, let's show the business end, let's show the interior and see what the ZR1 brings. All right guys, here we are at the auto show talking about this all new ZR1. I know you're saying to yourself, well Joe, I can't wait for these to be available. I can't wait for you to go on throttle and drive one of these so I could ride shotgun with you. Like I said, it's going to be very interesting to see where the price comes in. Many people are expecting around $180,000 to start, and this one be around $220,000. Now, that may seem like a crazy amount of money, and it is a lot of money, but if you compare this to the Ferrari SF90, to a Lamborghini Huracan STO, or even a McLaren, you're going to be paying a lot more, and you're not getting as much performance. So let's see what else you get when it comes to the interior. To the door panels. Absolutely love the style and the quality that Chevrolet is bringing to the C8 ZR1. You have that contrast yellow stitching, all that great material, carbon fiber poured all over that door panel. You have, of course, your Bose sound system, memory seat setting, and then at the bottom there, you do have your door pocket that's large enough, I would say probably for 5 Costco hot dogs. And the reason why I bring up Costco hot dogs is because that's all you're going to be able to afford after you buy one of these. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, the stitching is on needle point. You have your large center console, but remember, that's because the E-Ray uses its battery pack, which is saved on the interior. Something to think about, that's where the battery is for the E-Ray. Large bridge, carbon fiber throughout. You have your 8-inch infotainment system, your AC controls. This is going to control, remember, your 8-speed Tremec dual clutch transmission. And remember, the Tremec in this one has been beefed up to handle the 1,064 horsepower. Even a place to charge your phone, and the center speaker with the ZR1 badge, and then the competition seats, the leather, the Alcantara, the yellow seatbelt that gives you easily an additional 5 horsepower in the ZR1, full power assist for the passenger and the driver. But man, I can't wait to go for a spin in one of these. I want to take this one home. Why don't you come over to the business end, and I want to show you where you're going to be sitting in your ZR1. All right guys, business time. Obviously, I want to show you where you're going to be sitting behind the wheel. Now, as soon as you open up the door, you'll be greeted by that ZR1 badge on the aluminum sill plate, Zora's Racer, pedal box right out of a C8R race car, aluminum dead pedal, brake pedal, and throttle. And then what's great about the Corvette, I don't know what type of magic they do, but they're able to design those seats to not only hold you in place, but to fit a variety of different body types. Especially tall people do really well getting into this C8 Corvette, no matter what trim package it is. There's all that carbon fiber, and then of course the steering wheel looking like it's right out of a race car. The D-shaped style, the contrast stitching, the ZR1 badge on the bottom of the wheel within the carbon fiber, and then that bright competition yellow stripe up top on the top end of the steering wheel, and then lurking behind the wheel, of course, is going to be that 12-inch digital gauge cluster. We're at the show, and I can't start it up and show you, but we will be bringing more of what goes on when it comes to the graphics. Now, of course, I want to go for a first drive in this, and I want to take you with me. We can't wait to do that. It will be happening. First drive, definitely stay tuned. We will be bringing it to you, but I tell you, the more that I look at this ZR1, the more I just fall in love with every little aspect of it. To the untrained eye, maybe somebody says, hey, that's another C8 Corvette, but I think for obviously enthusiasts and others, they're gonna know, especially when this thing is on the track. Like I said, top speed, 233 miles per hour. Just to put that in perspective for you, when you're traveling 200 miles an hour, you're traveling the length of a football field every second. So you're traveling 100 yards every second at 200. This goes 233. But let me know what you think. Did Chevrolet knock this one out of the park and have enough to go up against the Ferrari SF90, Lamborghini Huracan STO, and of course, the plethora of McLarens? Let me know your thoughts down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. I'll come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raise Rise family. Got to give it up to Lori Raiti. No matter who's around, no matter how many people are around, she makes it happen. So thank you, Lori, for your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.